Hello. Welcome to an adventure. I'm hoping that you can see and hear me, and that the music is there, and that the volume levels are good. Let me know if any of that is not accurate. I know there's snow around the headset. I have been trying to get rid of that. But no matter what I do, we get some digital snow with this green screen for some reason. I don't know. Someday I will figure it out, and then it won't be there anymore. But how is everybody today? I hope that you're having a good week. Today is Wednesday, in case you didn't know. And we're going to go on a little archival adventure today. Today, we're going to head back a little over 100 years to look at electric vehicles. we won't be looking at electric vehicles of today. No, why would we do that? When I have an entire collection that focuses on electric vehicles from a little over 100 years ago. I'm actually really excited about this one. As always, I don't really know what's in the collection beyond I went through looking for something I could use as a picture to put out on social media. And just from flipping through looking for a good image to use for the promotional stuff, I'm excited about this collection. It looks really cool, which just means it appeals to my interests. Let's see. I should say hello to the people that are in chat. I see Hannah. Hi, Hannah. I see Lord Portico. Hello. Hi, Key Squared. Key Squared, you were here a while ago. Thank you for taking off my rings to put lotion on. The green screen is projecting on the watch band? Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even consider that. It is a green watch band, so that's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know if that is... Honestly, I have never put lotion on as much as I should, and I'm trying to be better about it, and it's just really uncomfortable if you don't take the rings off first to put the lotion on. So, a disembodied ghost hand. Haunted archives, indeed. Anyway, it's good to see you all. We are in our second November our Archival Adventures stream. Two for the month of November. Coming up on Archival Adventures, next week we're going to have educational cookery. So if you're not familiar with the term cookery, just cooking, but specifically educational cookery, it's a whole collection. That's the title. Then 2 weeks from today, there will not be an episode of Archival Adventures because that is the day before the U.S. national holiday Thanksgiving, and the university closes at noon. So I will not be able to be physically here in this space and doing a stream. So there will not be an Archival Adventures 2 weeks from today while the university is closed for the holiday. When we come back on November 30th, I have the American Egg Board collection. And then looking off into December, I've got Thornton L. Page on December 7th, and then an as yet preliminarily titled Baking with Kira episode on the 14th. So those are some of the things we can look forward to coming up. As a jeweler who has to clean a lot of lotion out of rings, you appreciate it. Well, I will keep that in mind going forward. An egg board sounds much messier than a cheese board. Well, Key Squared, if you're not familiar, the American Egg Board is essentially a marketing group. It's an appointed governmental, or I don't think it's a governmental agency. It is appointed by the government, created by the government, and then created by the government, appointed by the industry for the purpose of promoting a commodity. That commodity being eggs, the industry being farmers who raise hens that lay eggs. It is the group that was responsible for the marketing campaign, The Incredible Edible Egg. We'll learn more on November 30th about that, because I really didn't know exactly what they were until I tried to write up a brief description. So And indeed, Moobot is correct. Please help us improve archival adventures by completing the short survey. I don't know. I don't remember. I think there's a command that I can trigger it on the other channel, but I don't remember what it is. I'll see if I can find out. We are going to start today the way that we normally start, which is by just reading through the land and labor acknowledgement. 1 second. I just need to open up Moobot. Because since I just talked about like the survey command, I should probably make sure that it pops on both channels. But I don't remember what it is. Oh wow. That's the wrong Moobot. Thank you for dropping the VT acknowledges in there. I will read the thing in just a second. It's adventure feedback. That is the command. You know, I may have made it, but... Haha! There. All right. Let's read the thing, since we're starting out the stream, and that's sort of, you know, how we normally start. This channel, there. So as you know, this stream goes out to 2 channels, the Virginia Tech University Libraries Twitch channel, VTUL Studios, as well as my personal channel, Rogan27. And the materials that we share here on the stream are all part of the collections of special collections and university archives here at Virginia Tech. So I like to start out by just making sure that we pay attention to this because it's important. The land acknowledgement and labor recognition is an official statement by the university. Virginia Tech acknowledges that we live and work on the Tutelo and Monacan people's homeland, and we recognize their continued relationships with their lands and waterways. We further acknowledge that legislation and practices like the Morrill Act of 1862 enabled the Commonwealth of Virginia to finance and found Virginia Tech through the forced removal of Native nations from their lands, both locally and in Western territories. We understand that honoring Native peoples without explicit material commitments falls short of our institutional responsibilities. Through sustained, transparent, and meaningful engagement with the Tutelo and Monacan peoples and other Native nations, we commit to changing the trajectory of Virginia Tech's history by increasing Indigenous student, staff, and faculty recruitment and retention, diversifying course offerings, and meeting the growing needs of all Virginia tribes and supporting their sovereignty. We must also recognize that enslaved Black people generated revenue and resources used to establish Virginia Tech and were prohibited from attending until 1953. Through Inclusive VT, the institutional and individual commitment to ProSyn that I may serve. In the spirit of community, diversity, and excellence, we commit to advancing a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. So, I just think it's important to keep that in mind, so I have a weekly reminder of it. And I do look for opportunities to highlight materials related to Indigenous peoples or the Black population and Black history in particular, as well as other historically marginalized communities, because that's part of my job here at Virginia Tech. But thanks. I'm glad I've had positive feedback on the fact that I read that every week. So that said, the collection that we're going to be looking at today is going to take us back a little over 100 years. And that is the H.H. Skinner papers. Curiously, I do not know why it's formatted the way that it is, with the large H, small h. I also am uncertain exactly why it is the H.H. Skinner papers rather than the Herbert Harold Skinner papers. I'm guessing somewhere in the research about him, maybe he primarily went by H.H. It always strikes me as interesting when the title ends up being an abbreviated name like that, because I get curious as to why. So let's take a look at the finding aid. Finding aids for our collections live on the Archival Resources of the Virginias website, which is arvasarchives.org, I believe. I always just type it. I never actually think about it. Yeah, arvasarchive.org. That is where you can learn about the collections, the manuscript collections that we have, and find things like this finding aid. But you also have links in chat to take you straight to the finding aid. All right. Let's see. We bought these papers in 1988, apparently. So they were probably put up for auction. But they were not processed until this year. Herbert Harold Skinner, son of Herbert and Martha Montgomery Skinner, was born in Rome, New York on September 16, 1886. The 1900 federal census lists the Skinner family as residents of Bristol, Massachusetts. And by August 10, 1909, when the younger Herbert Skinner married Marguerite Merrill Gorham in Bristol, Rhode Island, he was employed as quote, an expert illuminating engineer for the Narragansett Electric Lighting Company. The Skinners appear in the 1910 federal census as residents of Providence, Rhode Island, and he continued to work for the same company as late as 1917, according to his 1917 World War I draft registration card. And in the 1920 census, Skinner is listed as an electric company manager. By 1925, Skinner was living in Poughkeepsie, New York, with second wife Beulah Doolittle Skinner, and working for the Central Hudson Gas and Electric Company. The Skinners appear to have moved a few times during the next 2 decades, with Herbert Skinner working in utility sales for different companies. City directories list the couple in Dayton, Ohio in 1929 and in Fall River, Massachusetts in 1933. By 1941, the Skinners were living in Newtonville, Massachusetts, while Herbert owned a business, perhaps an appliance store. I'm curious about the research that went into that parenthetical, in Boston. References to Skinner and Company can be found as late as 1960, and Herbert H. Skinner died in Newton, Massachusetts on August 2nd, 1971, and is apparently buried in Oak Grove Cemetery in Fall River, Bristol County, Massachusetts. So that's a little bit about the person. Basically a sketch of like important places and people, a little bit about where they worked. Pretty typical of a finding aid. The collection is HH's papers. An engineer/salesman with the Narragansett Electric Lighting Company in Providence, Rhode Island during the early 20th century. It contains reports, correspondence, photographs, and printed materials relating largely to the company's venture into the marketing of electric vehicles. Included in the collection are 3 salesmen's handbooks containing notes on pricing and technical specifications of electricity and electrical goods, as well as photographs of electric vehicles. Documenting the company's marketing of electrics are a number of reports and studies relating to the performance of the vehicles, their history, operation, and cost effectiveness. Promotional materials in the collection include my mind can't decide whether it's addresses or addresses. I believe it is addresses made by Skinner and others, and I'll explain that in a second. Photographs of electric vehicles and printed material, trade journals and pamphlets relating to electric vehicles and the power industry. The July 1913 edition of Board of Trade Journal, Providence, contains an article by Skinner, The Field of the Electric Vehicle. So, in my brain, addresses are the written instructions on where to deliver a letter, and addresses are when somebody gets up in front of a group and speaks to them. I don't know if that's an actual distinction, but that's how my brain processes it, and that's part of why I was struggling with how to pronounce that word in reading the sentence. Anyway, if you scroll down on the finding aid to the container list, this is a list of the folders in the collection. And all I know about what's in them is whatever is noted here. So like box 1, folders 1 and 2 is are salesman's handbooks. I don't know what that means. But if you skim through and you see something that you're interested in having me share on stream, let me know in chat so I can make sure that we get to that folder. Because I have not looked very deeply into what is here. You may see something that jumps out at you that seems really interesting and that you'd really like to know what's in that folder. And I may not notice it, so definitely let me know if there's something in the finding aid that you want to be sure to see. And with that, I think it's time that we start looking at the actual materials. Just have to move this out of the way so that I can get the let me take you back 100 years to the start of the electric car. Sorry, I was thinking, let me take you back, and my brain immediately went to Sunset Boulevard. The H.H. Skinner papers. The collection itself, I've got 2 boxes. Box 1 and box 2, which is half the width. Let's find out what there is in here. We could start with the salesman's handbooks, and I'm doing it again. I did this last week, and I don't know why. I need to not push the box up there because then A, I can't see chat, and B, it's blocking some of the lights that are meant to help illuminate the documents. Silly me. All right, we have 2 salesman's handbooks, 1908 to 1914, and ND, which means no date. So one of these is apparently dated 08 to 14, and one of them is not dated, is how I'm reading that. Let's find out. Narragansett Electric Lighting Company Salesman's Handbook. embossed with H.H. Skinner's name. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit further and see how that looks. Yeah, I think that is the level of zoom for this item. So let's see. Well, that's misleading. The title on the cover is Landscape. The handbook is Portrait. All right, display rooms and branch offices. So some addresses. Of course, this is Rhode Island based, so we've got a map of Rhode Island. The shaded portion shows the territory covered by Narragansett Electric Lighting Company and its subsidiaries, approximately 300 square miles. I'm not gonna dwell too much on the electrical grid and the power company part of this, because I'm mostly focused on the electric vehicles. I do note that it's interesting to me that in the early 1900s, it was power companies that were selling electric cars. General instructions to salesmen. The office hours are from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Salesmen are to report at 8:30 a.m. and arrange to be through with all office work so as to be on their territories at 9 a.m. and report by telephone to the office at 12 or 1 o'clock noon, also at 5 p.m. daily. All communications between members of the sales department and other departments of the company are to come through the office of sales department. Salesmen are not to notify customers or prospective customers as to the voltage to be supplied any particular premises without first securing the information from the station by means of prospective service inquiry. When securing renewal contracts, always take advantage of an opportunity offered of additional sales. Of course, they're salesmen. In taking the normal renewal application for residential customer, inquire whether that customer uses an electric flat iron. In the event that the customer does, mention a sewing machine motor or whatever appliance you think that new customer is likely to be interested in. In the case of the storekeeper, try and endeavor to interest him in an electric sign, jewelers, buffing and grinding motors, barbers, massage machines, etc. There are numerous articles in which to interest renewal applicants. I find it, of course, not surprising that storekeeper is referred to as him, and that this is addressed to salesmen. Salesmen are to make a house-to-house canvass for further business on all proposed extension of the company's lines, irrespective as to the length of extension, and make special report of the result of such canvass. In the meantime, the extension will be held up until the canvass is complete. So it's just rules about how they want people to sell product. I thought it might be interesting to glance at, but I'm not going to read all of them because there's too many rules. Let's see. Ooh. History of the incandescent lamp. This is all ultimately related to electric vehicles. The first commercial incandescent lamp was introduced by Thomas A. Edison in 1879. The filament was horseshoe-shaped and was made of carbonized paper. The essential parts of the lamp were the same as those of the lamp of the present day, over 100 years ago. The efficiency at which the lamp operated was about 7 watts per candle. Later, the efficiency was increased to 5.8 watts per candle by the adoption of a carbonized strip of bamboo. This increased the total life of the lamp, yet the candle power declined approximately 20% in the first 100 hours. Further improvements in 1881 increased the efficiency to 4.6 watts per candle. The present carbon filament is made by dissolving absorbent cotton, forming a thick, viscous solution, which is forced under pressure through a die, forming a long thread-like filament, which is then carbonized. The efficiency of the present carbon filament is approximately 3.1 watts per candle. Interesting. Okay, now I'm gonna have questions for chat to see if any of you know the answer, because I was just skimming the bottom of this page. I don't know the answer. The tantalum lamp, the tantalum lamp was placed on the market in 1906. It had an added efficiency over the gem, operating at 2 watts per candle. As the tantalum lamp gave rather unsatisfactory service on alternating current, it has given way to the more efficient Mazda lamp. The metal tungsten of the Mazda filament has a high melting point and high vaporizing temperature. Is this Mazda the same Mazda that makes vehicles today, cars today? I'm just curious. And if anybody knows that answer, I would love to know. Considering this is talking about the history of incandescent light bulbs, and the name Mazda comes up, and we're going to be talking about electric cars, I'm just curious. Let's see, service charges, motors. Yeah, that's not cars, though. We're going to do cars here in a moment. Ooh, there are pictures in here of cars. Here we go. In the salesman's book, we've got, let's see, General Electric Company. Nope, that's motors. Electric vehicles, starting on the bottom half of this page. Mazda was a trademarked name registered by General Electric in 1909 for incandescent light bulbs. The name was used from 1909 to 1945 in the United States by GE and Westinghouse, but they're not related to the vehicle manufacturer of today. They're just both named for Ahura Mazda. Who is Ahura Mazda? That's really interesting. But thank you, Hannah and Key Squared, both for looking up information. A Zoroastrian deity? I did not know. All right, cool. What are they deity of? Or is it not that kind of thing? The transcendental and universal god of Zoroastrianism, whose name means light of wisdom in the Avestan language. Thank you, Hannah. So light of wisdom. This makes sense. I can see this. All right, cool. Electric vehicles. An electric pleasure car or truck is a vehicle propelled by a motor, the power to drive which is obtained from a storage battery carried within the vehicle. They have been manufactured since 1893, and after 15 years' service, some of the early vehicles are still in use. In 1902, the New England Transportation Company of Boston was organized for the purpose of renting electric trucks, and it is due to the failure of this company 2 years after it was organized that the electric commercial vehicle became so discredited in New England. The really successful electric vehicle seems to date from about 1911 and was made possible by great improvements in batteries, transmission, tires, motors, etc. About 12,000 electric vehicles are built annually, and there are perhaps 50,000 in use. Of course, this book is from sometime in the 1910s, or 1900s. So those numbers not accurate today, nor the description of, who's making the cars. Vehicle construction. Electric commercial vehicles are built in sizes from 500 pounds to 7 tons capacity. I'm actually going to bump us in just a tad further. Just make that text a little bigger there. The greatest demand is for vehicles of 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds, 2 tons, and 4 tons, having a wheelbase of 86 inches, 102 inches, 120 inches, and 137 inches, respectively, and these weigh, complete with batteries, from 2,800 to 8,500 pounds. Electric vehicle tires are made of special high-priced rubber compound capable of giving much greater speed and mileage than can be obtained from those of the ordinary type. I wonder what the ordinary type was in like the 1908 time frame. Motors. Vehicle motors are of special construction and capable of withstanding enormous overloads. Transmission. The high speed at which vehicle motors operate is reduced by means of a countershaft, to which they are connected by means of a Morse chain, and the countershaft is connected by roller chains to the rear wheels. In some cases, the shaft drive is substituted for the Morse chain. Bearings, the motor and jack shaft are mounted on ball bearings, the wheels on Timken roller bearings. Less than meaningful to me, some of these things. Battery suspension. Practically all electric commercial vehicles have the battery suspended beneath the frame. Now see, I sort of understand from a design perspective and an aesthetic perspective why you would put the battery under the car. From a practicality standpoint, it feels weird to me. It actually seems more dangerous to put the battery under the car, because that's where it's most likely going to get scraped or scratched to the point that something's going to leak out of it and it's going to have the chance of like exploding or catching fire, or like, I really feel like an electric battery would be much safer on top of the car or at the nose or the tail. Under the chassis just seems like the wrong spot. But apparently practically all commercial vehicles had the battery suspended beneath the frame. Electric commercial vehicles are built to operate at a speed ranging from 14 miles per hour in the case of light delivery wagons to 6 miles per hour for the large 6-ton trucks. The mileage will vary from 65 miles to 40 miles per charge according to conditions. Electric trucks could be built to operate at high speeds, but if this were done, the depreciation and general cost of upkeep would be greatly increased. Electric pleasure vehicles are built in the form of roadsters, touring cars, and coupes. In all cases, the battery is above the frame, and usually power is transmitted by means of a shaft drive without the use of chains. They are capable of making any speed up to 35 miles per hour, and the roadsters can, in many cases, travel 100 miles on one charge of an Edison battery. Remember that batteries of that era tended to leak acid when tipped. So putting them low means they can't drip on your head when you go around corners. Interesting, I did not know that. Plus putting the heavy parts low makes the vehicle more stable. Yes, that makes sense. It just seems like most vehicle frames are generally designed and the suspension is put in place to allow a certain clearance between the bottom of the frame, the framed out portion of the vehicle, and the pavement or the ground. And so you've got the tires and you've got a little bit of bounce that your suspension is there for. But if you're going over a significant change in grade, there's a chance of bottoming out, which means that you end up scraping along the ground as you're changing from, say, flat to a significant grade. A lot of places grade roads so that doesn't happen. Around here, it happens a lot. I have destroyed my front bumper because there are so many parking lots for like shopping centers that you exit like this and end up on a flat road, and you bottom out. Doesn't matter how slow you go, you're scraping that bumper on the pavement to transition from the parking lot to the pavement. And so if you're suspending something below the frame, your chances of bottoming out increase significantly. That's why, to me, putting it under the frame seemed like a strange choice, because there's much more chance that it's going to scrape along the ground as you're driving around. Now, if you're just driving through town and the roads are all pretty much flat, then it's not going to matter much. But if there's any transitions in elevation, and like here, we're in a wooded area, we are that, but that's not what I meant to say. We're in a mountainous area here. And so there are a lot of elevation changes where bottoming out becomes an issue, or a potential issue at least. So the speedsters could go 35 miles an hour and up to 100 miles on a charge. Vehicle batteries may be divided into 3 classes: lead batteries, ironclad lead batteries, and nickel iron batteries. Of course, today, I believe today electric vehicles typically, are they using lithium ion batteries or are they using something else? I know we're not doing hydrogen fuel cells. I know Volkswagen experimented with those for a while, but those aren't electric vehicles. I don't know. I presume that our current electric vehicles are using lithium ion, despite how temperature sensitive and flammable that they have turned out to be. But I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. Lead batteries. Lead vehicle batteries are of what is known as the foray, or pasted plate type, and are built in the form of lead grids to which what is known as active material is applied. These plates are immersed in a dilute solution of pure sulfuric acid and distilled water known as electrolyte, and are assembled in hard rubber jars. A complete cell is composed of positive and negative plates, which are separated from each other by means of perforated sheets of hard rubber and wood veneer. The hard rubber separator is adjacent to the positive plate, while the wood separator is used with the negative plate. The positive plates are of lead peroxide and of a velvety brown color, while the negatives are of sponge lead and light gray in color. Ironclad batteries. To secure greater strength in the positive plates of a lead battery, the Electric Storage Battery Company invented a positive plate in which the active material was enclosed in hard rubber tubes, which practically prevented wear and which enabled them to guarantee the life of the battery for a period not exceeding 2 years. The action of a lead battery of ironclad lead the action of a lead battery or ironclad lead battery is as follows. When discharging, the acid leaves the electrolyte and passes into the positive and negative plates, changing the materials of which they are composed into lead sulfate. And if such a battery is completely exhausted, the acid will entirely pass into the plates, leaving only water within the jar. In charging a battery, the lead sulfate disappears from the plates and the acid returns to the electrolyte, the specific gravity of which rises, and the plates again return to their original composition of lead peroxide and sponge lead. Note, lead sulfate occupies more space than either lead peroxide or sponge lead and causes the plates to swell on discharge. The capacity of lead batteries increases with use from 18 to 33%. The initial voltage of 2.15 per cell falls slightly throughout the discharge until it amounts to about 1.80 volts per cell at a time when the battery is 85% empty. From this, it is possible to determine the amount of mileage remaining in a vehicle battery at all times. Note, these readings apply only at normal discharge rates. The nickel-iron alkaline batteries. This type is known as the Edison battery and is composed of plates of nickel hydrate and iron oxide immersed in a potash solution. If I'm not mistaken, this is the, like, what did they call it? Nickel iron alkaline batteries. Are those not just basically like the AA and AAA batteries that you get to power things like remote controls and stuff in the modern day still? Are those not nickel iron alkaline batteries? I'm not certain. I would be curious. I actually have a mouse here. It's got batteries in it. I'm gonna look at them. Alkaline battery. It does not say nickel iron, but it is an alkaline battery. Anyway. Similar, you believe. Okay. Double the effective life of the ironclad lead battery and somewhat more capacity per round, but is capable of driving a vehicle no further than the thin lead plate batteries. It is very inefficient in the use of power as compared with the lead battery and should never be recommended where the cost of charging current exceeds 3 cents per kilowatt hour. I'm not going to read the entire sales book here. I'm going to skip battery charging and care unless somebody really wants to read it. Only chargeable by direct current. Ooh, the cost of electric vehicles. You think zinc is more used now than iron? Yeah, I don't know. The cost of electric vehicles. The cost of electric commercial vehicles is about as follows. 750 pounds, $1,400. 1,000 pounds, $1,800. A 1-ton vehicle, $2,350. A 2-ton vehicle, $3,000. 3.5 tons, $3,800. And a 5-ton electric vehicle, $4,200. Electric pleasure vehicle prices vary to some extent according to make. A first-class electric coupe may be purchased for $2,000 and the same vehicle, complete with rectifier and portable garage, for $2,500. What's a portable garage, I wonder? An electric roadster capable of making it from 25 miles to 35 miles per hour for a distance of from 75 to 100 miles on one charge over ordinary country roads can be purchased complete with an Edison battery for $2,900. 5-passenger Brahms? I don't know this word. 5-passenger Brahms is my guess as to how you would say that. cost from $28.50 to $3,000. I don't know this word. What does it mean? I must go to the internet and look up this word that I am unfamiliar with. T Squared beat me to it. A type of Victorian carriage, which you only know from historical movies, so you don't know how to pronounce it. You assume the car style was named for the carriage. I think so. Thank you for the hydrate, Lord Portico. BROUGHAMS. Brougham? Horse-drawn carriage with a roof, 4 wheels, and an open driver's seat in front. Ah, okay. All right. We'll share a picture because helpful to have a visual. This is from Wikipedia. That is what one looks like. And in fact, is an electric one. So I've definitely seen that model before, or that style of vehicle before. I did not know that that was what the term was for them. All right. The cost of maintaining electric vehicles. The cost of maintaining an electric commercial vehicle will vary greatly according to the cost of changing current, or of charging current, mileage, and many other items, and is worked out on the basis of parcel delivery and light trucking in the following tables. We're gonna skip the tables, but you can see them there. Basically, total annual expense of $2,100 or $1,789. These numbers seem minuscule by today's standards. Cost per mile, 25 cents or 28 cents. So slightly less costly per mile than a one-horse carriage. You just found somebody's master's thesis that says prefab portable garages were commonly available by mail order at that time and popular with renters or other people who moved often. Huh. I've never even considered a portable garage. I wonder if those still exist. I imagine most apartment complexes would not let you set up a portable garage around your car today. And then we have a rate schedule, but let's get to the actual pictures of cars. I've got mixed media here with some glossy photos and old papers. So I'm actually going to put a glove on one hand and not on the other, so that when it comes to the paper, I can have a little bit more manual dexterity, but I can touch the photos just with the gloved hand. Ooh, pardon me. Sorry for the yawn. Wow. Apparently I'm not getting enough oxygen. Probably talking too much, that's the thing. All right, we have my controls just turned off. Of course, right after I put a glove on, it won't let me touch the screen. That's better. Yeah, so this appears to be basically that same broom style. No, not, because the driver's inside. Let's see what this says. Oh, I'm gonna need to zoom out a little bit more, I think. Or, let me see. Yeah, okay, I can get the whole width, and it's not too bad. If you want me to zoom back in so that you have bigger pictures of the cars, let me know. I can do that. These are, in the booklet, these photographs, the glossies, they're on fabric. They're attached to fabric. They're pasted onto a muslin of some sort, probably a cotton. And I think it's just a cotton muslin, like shirting fabric. Dr. Jason S. Moore, Waverly Roadster, ironclad battery, approximately 2 years of age. And it was approximately $2,500. Next, we have this little roadster. I love the lamps. Like, compared to modern cars, the passenger cabin is much more like a room. It's a room that's been placed on wheels. Rather than like, ours are just, like modern cars are more of a cockpit, or I don't know. It's the inside of a car. It's not a room anymore. A Columbus Brougham. Really? But I just read the definition and it said that it's where the driver sits outside. I'm confused now. Yeah, wow. I wish it had dates, but these are all going to be like early 1900s. William Draper, Waverly Coupe. This is a coupe. Interesting. Oh, these are so neat. Unless this is the coupe, because this isn't labeled. No, I think the labels are on the back of them. So this one's just not labeled. I have spent a lot of time with this booklet, but it's been really interesting. I'm gonna see if anything jumps out. I'm just gonna flip through real fast because there's plenty more stuff. Ooh, we have delivery wagons. Commercial vehicles. It just says Brown and Sharp Company, Providence, Rhode Island. Does anybody know why electric vehicles of this type went out of fashion? Because they were around and they were being used and they were less expensive to operate. a little over 100 years ago, they were in use. And these are some heavy-duty commercial vehicles here. System for changing batteries for night service. Is whatever, like, I'm guessing those are the batteries. Like, they have a whole chain winch, like, lift system to change the batteries. Not surprising that. Pawtucket, Rhode Island. D. Goff and Sons. These are really interesting. So this is part of the sales book. Showing off some of these products. Possible to drive in the snow. Wow. I had not looked inside this book previously. It's really neat. Oh, a public charging station. This is a public charging station for electric vehicles from the early 1900s. So the infrastructure was put in place. The electric operators, the electric companies, were interested in people adopting electric vehicles. Electric vehicles were less expensive. So why did they go out of fashion? I ran across an answer to this when I was researching the specific vehicle that was in the image that I used for the promotional graphic this week. And electric vehicles went out of fashion. Yeah, giant coal-powered generator next to it. You had to stoke it yourself. It was not worth it. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. They weren't exactly clean, but that was because the source of the electricity wasn't clean. And yeah, you did have to do some of the work yourself there. The reason they went out of fashion, though, according to what I found, had to do with the same, it's ultimately the same reason that Grand Prix style racing went out of fashion in the United States. And ultimately, with regard to the electric vehicles, they were dangerous because they were too fast. I have to see. I'm looking up. So this, of course, that was an anecdote I ran across about the racing. But let's see. This is actually from Smithsonian. Cars were expensive, and so was electricity. A sizable market for electric cars developed among wealthy urban women But price and technical challenges limited the market. An electric car didn't run very far between charges, and its lead-acid batteries required frequent maintenance. Electricity for recharging batteries wasn't even available in most of rural America until the 1930s, and Americans had an urge to travel long before then. Most car buyers in the 1910s and 20s chose gasoline cars, which were far from perfect, but had much longer range between fill-ups. We're gonna, in a second, we'll glance at this customer's file, although I don't know that it's gonna be something that we're gonna spend a lot of time with. Also, I may have lost my connection to the camera. We'll see if it reconnects here. Good. Because that computer always goes to sleep despite 19 different spots where we've said never shut off the display. The display goes off, or it shuts itself off after 5 minutes regardless. Let's see. In most people's minds, gasoline, not the car battery, was bottled lightning. Filling stations could be located anywhere, and before long, gas cars symbolized portable energy. Yeah, cool. I wonder where the anecdote about the Grand Prix was. I know I ran across it, and it was definitely on something where it had a footnote, like it had an actual reference to it. We might discover it again as we go along. I don't remember. I think it was a Baker Model O that I was looking up when I ran across that information. So there's a customer file here. Basically, I want to read one of these letters real quick and then move on to some of the sales reports, because the sales reports seem really cool. I saw one and they were neat. Although this is not what I wanted. Let's just read somebody's mail from May 13th, 1913. Diamond and L. Diamond and Sons Incorporated, Providence, Rhode Island. I'm gonna zoom in. Gentlemen, attention of Mr. Robinson. I am enclosing a report covering the work done by the 2-ton Lansdowne electric truck on Thursday, May 8. After carefully investigating your conditions, it seems as if a 2,000-pound Lansdowne truck with a large body, or perhaps a 3,000-pound Lansdowne truck, would be amply large to do any work which you require for freight hauling, and would, besides this, form a very useful addition to your delivery system. Such a car you could operate at considerably less expense than the 4,000-pound car with which we demonstrated. It would be faster, and in every way, I believe it would be well suited to your work. The greatest load carried on Thursday was 2,200 pounds. The average for the 5 trips was only 1,600 pounds. Let's see. Regarding the application of an electric truck to your freight department, I would say that to make it a complete success, it would be necessary to load and unload the freight much faster than was the case on Thursday. While we were able to make 5 trips as compared with 4 trips, which your drivers claimed was the normal average for this work, still, it should be possible, by working a little faster, to make at least 7 trips per day, if not more. Okay. Interesting way to sell a vehicle. Telling somebody, make your warehouse workers load and unload faster. You will note that it required 30 minutes to load the truck on trip 1, 30 minutes on trip 3, and 35 minutes on trip 4, and 80 minutes on trip 5. What happened on trip 5, I wonder? We estimate the cost of operating one of these machines while doing this particular work at about $2.30 a day for electricity, tires, battery depreciation, and mechanical upkeep, and $1.20 for interest and depreciation. A net total of $3.50 per day. If it is possible to save a little time on the loading and unloading and increase the number of trips up to at least 6 or 7 per day, there is no question but what we could save you some money. Under the present conditions, with only 5 trips a day to the credit of such a truck, I believe that it will compete with your cost of operating horses, but hardly feel that it would be any cheaper. Hoping that you will give this matter your careful consideration, I remain very truly yours, Sales Manager. So, interesting sales technique for sure. Our vehicles are gonna save you money over delivery with horses. All you have to do is make your men load the vehicle faster. And if your employees will load and unload faster, then yeah, of course it's cheaper than horses. I don't know that that would make me want to buy an electric car. It's a very odd sales technique in my mind. All right, I'm gonna skip over the customer files. Let's take a look now at the electric vehicle report, the Shepherd Company, 1912. I'm excited to see what this is. Electric vehicle report. The cost of delivering goods. The Shepherd Company, July 20th, 1912. I don't know what kind of notebook this was in. Whatever it was in, it has been removed from, but you can see the 3-ring binder holes on the side. It is onion skin paper. Slightly yellowed over time. There is a watermark. Hope Bond. It has an anchor. I doubt that you're going to be able to see the no matter what I do, that you'll be able to see the watermark on camera. Yeah, I would need to find. I could try shining a light up through the paper and see if that will work. I don't know if this is gonna work. Hello, watermark, where are you? There we go. Nope. I have to get it under the camera and then shine a light through. Oh, there, you can sort of see the watermark. You see the word hope and the anchor, and then it continues on and there's a second word that reads bond, B-O-N-D. Anyway, watermarks. I doubt the watermark is meaningful in this case, but I think it's just the brand of paper they bought. All right, so page 1 here, we have this lovely picture of a Baker delivery wagon in hospital service. This is a delivery wagon, electric vehicle. The batteries would be down here on the bottom. Hard to put a price on not having to clean up after the horse. This is true, was not worth it. Of course, you have the incandescent light fixtures that would be here. Let's see. This would be the brake, the parking brake, I think. Steering wheel. Of course, the driver is just up front here completely open to the elements. Baby's Dispensary is quite the name. Yep. Yeah. That is an interesting name for sure. I want to see. Yes. I'm looking up, so they mentioned, you can't really see it because it's down at the bottom here. A Baker delivery wagon in hospital service. This vehicle, despite this report being the Shepherd Company, the commercial vehicle chassis that the vehicle is built on top of is a Baker Model O. And you can see the Baker logo here right above the front driver's tire. I can even probably zoom in a little and make that a little bit more clear. So you can see it says Baker. That is the Baker Motor Vehicle Company. I know it's the Model O because it's the same chassis as was in the promotional image that I used for this week, and so I already looked it up. Oh, it was Baker specifically that the fall of the Baker Motor Vehicle Company was aligned with the end of Grand Prix style racing in the United States. Writes a prescription for an extra strength infant because according to Wikipedia, which is okay for primer information, look at the sources used to write the Wikipedia article if you need sources for your own research. Baker Motor Vehicle Company was an American manufacturer of brass-era electric automobiles in Cleveland, Ohio, from 1899 to 1914. The first Baker vehicle was a two-seater with a selling price of $850 US. One was sold to Thomas Edison as his first car. Edison also designed the nickel-iron batteries used in some Baker electrics. These batteries have extremely long lives. 1902. In May 1902, Baker took part in a speed trial on a public road on Staten Island, New York. The vehicle was built specifically for racing, having previously raced in Cleveland, and was a streamlined and enclosed torpedo body with small conning tower and even smaller mica window for the driver. The crew of two were carried, one acting as brakesman, while W.C. Baker, the driver, steered. Although carrying two people increased the weight, this was a small matter when the car already weighed 3,000 pounds, mostly of lead-zinc batteries. The intention was to exceed 60 miles per hour and to cover a mile a minute from a standing start, beating the performance of the more powerful gasoline cars and the 1901 electric record by a Riker of 1 minute 8 seconds. The Baker was car 39 from the start and set a good time for the first part of the course, but then lost control and slid sideways into the crowd. A number of spectators were injured and 2 killed. In the aftermath, the Automobile Club of America resolved to stop races on public roads, and there was a general loss of confidence in the safety of electric cars. Torpedo body. Do we need to find one for Lord Fortico? Possibly. This accident, I'm curious, and it's something that I may look into later. Reading about the description of it, I'm curious if it was the inspiration or if that accident was the accident that the accident at the beginning of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was based on. I don't know. I imagine there were a lot of Grand Prix accidents that involved cars careening into the stands and blowing up. But the description of it reminded me of the beginning of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And I think Torpedo Body, I think in some of the, if you've seen the movie version of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the some of the racers at the beginning, when they're showing the old races, are that style of body. The control systems could use a good case replacement. The entire page just reads, the purpose of the report, and it is that fuzzy. The camera is not out of focus. That is, I will ask it to autofocus here, and we'll double check, but when I look at it in person, it's still fuzzy. Yeah, continuous autofocus. The purpose of the report: to show the high economy which may be obtained by delivering parcels by means of the Baker Electric Delivery System, and to also show the extremely low cost of maintaining electric wagons in comparison with horses, as well as other types of motor wagons. To make clear so far as possible the extreme simplicity of the electric vehicle. The Model O light truck. Here you can see the chassis without the room that essentially gets built on top of it. This is the vehicle, as far as they're concerned. What you put on top of it, that's your own business. Aww. Have we been visited by bots? Are the bots interested in driving electric cars? Lord Portico, thank you for your vigilance. I'm sad that Farming Girl, though, was a bot. So 95-inch wheelbase, 56-inch tread, 34 by 3.5 inches solid tires. Solid tires. Steering gear is a wheel. They needed to specify that in order to steer, you're using a wheel. I wonder, what was the other... What would it have been instead? A stick? I don't know that I saw any early... I don't know that I'm familiar with any models of early motor vehicle that didn't use a wheel for steering. Now I'm curious. Brakes, internal, expanding on rear wheels. Internal, expanding on countershaft for emergency. Joystick. Telepathy. Telekinesis. Yes, you got there about the same time I did. This one has 42 cells, 9 MV Exide, ironclad or Edison battery at extra cost. 9. I don't know MV. I'm guessing V is volts, but M would it really be? It wouldn't be 9 million volts. That's too much. So I don't know what that is abbreviating. A solid tire is suitable for demanding applications in slow-moving vehicles or trailers with a high risk of damage and impact. They're stable and are resistant to puncture. They're also maintenance-free. A solid tire has a high loading capacity and is also very economical. That's cool. And that quote's about solid tires today. Yeah, no inner tubes, solid tires. I know I had a bicycle with solid tires when I was young. I just didn't know that. Like, it makes sense on this type of vehicle. I honestly didn't know that there were still solid tires on motor vehicles today. But here's a top down of the chassis. So you can see the chain driven, you can see it on the side view here. The motor is here, the batteries are suspended here, and then the motor is here, and it's very much driven in sort of the way that a bicycle would be driven, where you've got a gear and the motor is attached, where on a bicycle you're pedaling, but in this case it is a motor that is moving the gear, and that extends out to a larger gear behind that moves the tire. And it has that on both sides to move the two rear tires. And that's literally how this vehicle moves, is a chain gearing system very similar to what we're familiar with from bicycles today. So why are tires not solid? There are plenty of reasons why tires were not made solid. One reason is that it is much easier to replace an air-filled tire than to replace a very heavy and solid rubber tire. Mainly used on things like forklifts. Ah, that would make sense. I know, like, big 18-wheeler trucks, semi-trucks, they don't have solid tires, but they have tires that are specifically designed that as they wear, like, they're usually steel reinforced, but they also will shred and tear apart. And they can have one of them shred and keep driving until they're able to, like, pull over and take care of it, rather than getting a flat tire and possibly having a puncture. Yeah, there's different construction of tires for different purposes. Thank you for sharing the link to the article about tires. Hannah, if you wouldn't mind, since I saw you in there earlier, would you mind sharing that link in the other chat as well? And if you can't, I can do it. It'll just take me a second. I just have to grab the mouse and keyboard. Rear axle and brake mechanism. Model O Baker truck has fewer moving parts than any other type of vehicle and has nearly all of these running in oil or grease in such a way as to require practically no attention. Oh, that's my fault, Hannah. I forgot that you wouldn't be able to post the link. So I will do it. But thank you very much for your attempt to do so at my prompting. I forgot. There. I don't know. It must show it to you since you're the one that posted it, but everybody else just got asterisks in place of the link. The transmission. All power is furnished from a high-speed motor of special design, driving a countershaft by means of a silent Renault chain, running in a bath of heavy oil. This chain need be inspected only once a year and is subject to practically no wear. The motor is supported by 2 frictionless imported annular ball bearings packed in grease, which require no attention. The countershaft is supported in 4 places by these bearings and runs without friction. Okay. The countershaft is connected with the rear wheels by 2 roller chains. I suspect it's not completely frictionless, but no friction for the extreme early 1900s, let's say. The battery. The Baker truck used in the demonstration is equipped with a 42 to 9 megavolt? Megavolt. MV must be megavolt. Ironclad battery having a 6-hour capacity of 168 amp hours without injury. The electric storage battery company who build the battery guarantee it to be capable of sustaining 600 charges and protect the consumer absolutely. So that's under 2 years of charges. Experience has shown that the battery, if given reasonable care, will give from 900 to 1,200 complete charges. That's much more attractive as a consumer. 900 to 1,200, that's going to be just under 300, or just under 3 years, or just under 4 years. Before it becomes useless. If the truck were used 50 miles on a charge, it would have run 30,000 miles based on the conservative estimate of 600 complete charges. The cost of a complete recharge is $392.50. Wow. Making the cost per mile on a 20,000 mile guarantee 1.9 cents, which is the figure used in all the maintenance charges. Interesting. And then we have some pictures of Baker delivery wagons, outfitted for different purposes. This one up here, it looks like we've got a seat for the driver, and then some sort of bin type back. That is, honestly, this is a pickup truck. There's no cabin for the driver to sit in. It's just this open seat with a backrest and the steering wheel. This is a pickup truck. And then we have the milkman. Borden's Peerless Evaporated Milk. From Borden's Condensed Milk Company, which we've definitely looked at their ads on stream before in food-related ones. I don't know why we bought this, except that it's science and technology, engineering, etc. Actually, I think maybe AEEE. Now I have to look and see. What subjects did we tag? Science and technology. Yeah, other than science and technology, I don't know that we have a particular focus on electric vehicles, so I'm not 100% certain why we bought this collection. I'm glad we did though, because I think it's really cool. This one is unlabeled. I don't know. It's unmarked delivery van. This is your white panel van today. Unmarked delivery vehicle. This one is labeled Minnesota Steel Company. Curious that the Minnesota Steel Company one has windows. I'm curious what they're transporting in it. It is a very neat collection. I think this is really cool. Oh, you got called away as usual? Well, the VOD will be available on either channel until it expires. It will hang around as a highlight on the VTUL Studios channel indefinitely, and it will live permanently on the Virginia Tech Library's YouTube channel, at least as long as that channel exists, as far as I'm aware. So there are opportunities to revisit and look at things. The demonstration test. Very, like, I don't know if they needed a new ribbon or just a whole new set of keys or a brand new typewriter. Their typewriter was very soft. The demonstration test, June 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1912, the Shepherd Company. Mr. Sampson, the mechanical and electrical engineer of the F.N. Phelps Company, began with his work at 8:45 a.m. Tuesday, June 25, 1912. The entire morning and afternoon of Tuesday was devoted to delivering groceries in South Providence. Particular attention is called to the fact that only 1/2 the mileage capacity of the car was used, in spite of the fact that it replaced 4 horses, 2 wagons, and 2 men. The work done on Wednesday was similar to that of Tuesday, except that it was in Elmwood. 1 electric delivery wagon did all the work ordinarily done by the 2 single wagons. The car ran 37.6 miles, about 2/3 of its capacity. They've noted the weather conditions, road conditions, what was done, the odometer reading, calculated out a cost per mile, and cost per delivery. Interesting. So these reports are like, this would be really good for sales. Like, you've got hard numbers. As a salesperson, you can point to this stuff and be like, look, there's actual testing that's been done. These are how the numbers shake out compared to horse-drawn carriages and gasoline engines and whatnot. I love, it's like, these are the different models of room that you can put on top of your chassis. I find it neat. Like today, vehicles are just like, you got a vehicle. You can buy this model or that model or that model or that model, and if you buy that model, they're all the same. Here, only the frame and tires and motor and only that part is the standard vehicle chassis. Whatever you put on top of it is modular. And I think that's a neat idea that I honestly never thought about. They're comparing the Model O and the Model X. I don't know what the Model X looks like. In conclusion, these are Baker heavy trucks. These are 18-wheelers. These are semis, insofar, or dump trucks, insofar as what they're carrying. So this one is the equivalent of the pickup truck, only a dump truck. This one is like a moving van, I think. This one is definitely a log carrier for like logging. Because you still have tractor trailer trailers that have this construction of the poles with the chains. That's for carrying beams or tree trunks or things like that. And I'm uncertain on this one, although this frame is definitely used for grocery delivery later, or in another photo that I've seen. So I think this is more of like a modular, you can fill the inside with various things. We have shown the simplicity, economy, and extremely high delivery efficiency of the Baker electric truck. We used the Model O truck during the test, but in purchasing cars, the Shepherd Company would probably find the Model X 1,000-pound wagon more satisfactory for parcel delivery, as it costs less to buy and 15% less to maintain. We have shown a delivery cost of 4.5 cents per package delivered, assuming all items of expense, and can materially reduce this after adapting your routes for the electric service. We respectfully submit this report and ask your kind consideration of the same, submitted by H.H. Skinner. We've barely scratched the surface of this collection, and it's all been ridiculously cool so far. I just think it's a neat collection. Let me see. We don't have a whole lot of time left. I'm gonna grab a folder for us to glance at. Folder 9 and 10 and 11. And we're gonna look at some photos for the rest of the time, unless you've got something in particular you want me to look at that is on the finding aid. But I think photos of the Baker Electrics and photos of other electric vehicle manufacturers are a good way to close things down for the stream. And here is the photo that I used for the promotional image for this week's stream, because this is an awesome photo. And again, these are lined with muslin on the back. If I slide over here, you can see the cloth. There's a muslin backing, and yeah. Anyway, this photo I know a little bit more about than any other photo that we're going to look at. I know more about this photo than I know about anything else in this collection, because I did a tiny little bit of research in order to write up alt text for it. Let me get that, because of course I closed the document on my computer. Why would I have kept it open? That would imply that I knew that I was going to need to read it. I want this one. All right. So the photograph that we have here is circa 1912. It is a photo of electric delivery trucks used by the Heinz Company. Heinz, very well known for their ketchup, but indeed this has their pickle logo, and has the 57 varieties noted. The trucks are open-air vehicles with no glass. A driver's compartment at the front has no doors or windshield, while the cargo area in back has shelving that creates a grid pattern when viewed from the side. The roof is dark canvas or rubber with rounded corners and covers the driver's compartment. And covers the driver's compartment and cargo area. There are rolled-up canvas sides that can be lowered to cover the back. A Heinz logo is on the side of the vehicle. Instructions on accessibility. Nope, that's the end of my description of the photo, and then I talk about, because that's alt text. So I go into accessibility accommodations for the stream. But yeah, these are the Model O chassis, and these are pictured in front of a market that I knew the name of. Did I not? I apparently didn't keep it in my notes, because why would I keep that in my notes? It's fine. Wow. Yeah. This is Sheriff Street. It's a market, I believe it's Cleveland, Ohio, and it's a very famous market. The Sheriff Street Market was the largest food market in Cleveland until completion of the West Side Market in 1912. So this is right around the time that this lost its status as the largest market in Cleveland. Located on Sheriff Street between Huron and Boulevard Roads, opened on Christmas Eve 1891, was built and operated by the privately owned Sheriff Street Market and Storage Company. It was the trading place of thousands of Clevelanders, most of whom lived within walking distance. The Realty Corp of Cleveland bought the Market House in 1929, and part of the building was being remodeled as a bus terminal and garage when it was badly damaged by a fire in 1930, and then most of the building was torn down except for the south wing, which continued to house the market until it closed in 1936. It reopened in 1950 as the new Central Market. Henry J. Heinz introduced the marketing slogan 57 pickle varieties. I had no idea that Heinz 57 referred to 57 pickle varieties. In 1896, he later claimed he was inspired by an advertisement he saw while riding an elevated train in New York City, a shoe store boasting 21 styles. The reason for 57 is unclear. Heinz said he chose because it was his lucky number, and the number 7 was his wife's lucky number. Amazing. I did not know this. My controls like to time out after a certain period of time. Let's see. However, Heinz also said the number 7 was selected specifically because of the psychological influence of that figure and its enduring significance to people of all ages. Whatever the reasons, Heinz wanted the company to advertise the greatest number of choices of pickles. In fact, by 1892, so it was hyperbole, but interesting, and remains part of their brand to today. 4 years before the slogan was created, the Heinz Company was already selling more than 60 products, so at least they have a minimum of 57. The first product to be promoted under the new 57 variety slogan was prepared horseradish. By 1940, the term Heinz 57 had become so synonymous with the company, the name was used to market a steak sauce. All from Wikipedia, thank you. Yeah, no, that is excellent information. A very, very delicious pickly tangent. Indeed, key squared. Anyway, I thought this was a wonderful image. It actually is the image on... It actually is the background on my watch right now, is this picture. Because I think it's a great picture. Yeah. So these were food delivery vehicles for the Heinz Company. Then we have, the Baker, a branded Baker illustration of the chassis from top-down view. I don't know which model this is. The steering wheel seems a bit too far back to be a Model O. Large electric of modern type is all it says. Here we have a lovely little coupe, possibly? I'm not sure. Nope, it's a brougham. A brougham. The pronunciation as listed is brew, like broom, but with an extra O before the M. So brougham. is what how the pronunciation is written. I have not heard it said though, so I still don't know if I'm doing it right. I could see this as like a taxi. Sadly, the taxi driver would be out in the weather, but given this was the 19-teens, probably not unexpected. The interior furnishings of a Baker Electric's car. Note, remember how I said these are basically a room on wheels? You've got upholstered seating, for sure. But you've got curtains. You've got a light fixture in the ceiling, the type of which you would find in a home, like in an entryway hallway, or so definitely a traveling room, but a room nonetheless. Drivers were out in the weather with the horse-drawn cabs too, so it doesn't surprise you. Yes, indeed. And if you ever watch movies where they've got like the old Wells Fargo wagon, and people booking passage on a Wells Fargo wagon for long-distance travel, the passengers would be inside, the luggage would be on top, and the driver was outside. And if you go even further back into like Britain and looking at like medieval time depictions and things like that, whenever there's a vehicle, a carriage that is pulled by horses, the drivers are outside, the passengers are inside. So not surprising that electric vehicles started out that way too. This what's it labeled? A Baker Electric truck in front of an ancient wall in Siam. It is operated by an electric light and power company. So a lovely electric vehicle here in Siam. They appear to be some sort of construction work team. I'm guessing based on the type of clothing they're wearing, the hats they're wearing, and the like wooden slats and 2x4s that are sticking out of the truck. But I don't know, because it's not labeled. That's all inference. Frank N. Phelps Electric Garage, Baker Electrics. I think this is half showroom, half recharging station. We have the Grayton and Knight Manufacturing Company, Oak Leather Tanners and Belt Makers. So I get the impression that Skinner primarily sold commercial vehicles, because most of what's in here is commercial vehicles. But here's a racer. This is a torpedo vehicle, for certain. Car number 999, until you crash and land upside down. In which case, then you're car number 666, I think. But this one has a typed description. Electric racing car Torpedo Kid. Designed and built by Mr. Walter C. Baker in 1903, entered at the Ormond Beach races in 1904, attaining a speed of 65 miles per hour. A similar car of somewhat larger size was built and shipped to France. While racing at a speed of 120 miles per hour, the driver lost control of the machine and several people were injured. Since that time, electric vehicles have been built to operate at a maximum speed of 35 miles per hour. slightly different details and dates than the story that we found online earlier. Torpedo car. Oh, it's already past 4:30. I don't want to stop. I'm just gonna like flip through real quick and see if anything else stands out. The torpedo car we had to see. There are so many. There are like 4 folders of these kinds of photographs, and they're all like this. This is an amazing collection. I love this collection. This is I'm not certain, but I think this might be an ambulance. It's not labeled on the back, but I think it might be an ambulance. I got the torpedo out of order. Let's see, I've got maybe a couple more. Yeah, I was just like the interior arrangement, it seemed like that is a probable usage. Let's see. A whole row of delivery vehicles here for I'm uncertain what that company's name is. The Hallie Renz Company. This truck has cut the cost of parcel delivery in half for the Hallie Brothers Company in Cleveland. Instead of $28,000, the cost is now $14,000. Ooh, a convertible. A lovely convertible, very reminiscent again of the style of vehicle that you see in the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie, which for me is a referent. Do you want to see one with people in it? I realize all of the pictures that we've seen were just of the cars. This one has people in it, and they're driving in the snow. Reminds you of a vehicle in Anne of Green Gables. So what I don't So, the windscreen, it has one improvement over other vehicles of the time. It has a windscreen. The windscreen is presently folded down part of the way. So this part on the left here can actually flip up so that the windscreen stands a little taller. Because right now, the windscreen does nothing except to keep your hands from being in the wind. Definitely doesn't block bugs from hitting you in the face. But I'm not sure how well it would do at that anyway, because it's so far from the people. So even if you flip that up, it just seems less effective. But that's probably because I'm used to modern vehicles that have a windshield. It's probably an improvement over nothing at all. To be frank, if they're in the snow, they're probably moving pretty slow at the moment. This is true, Key Squared. And here is a photograph of a delivery vehicle from the government printing office, the GPO, with large reels of paper on the back of that truck. Any windscreen at all is better than being on a horse? I mean, possibly less smelly. You know where that is? Yeah, I've been there too. Which is part of why I was excited to drop it down on there. We've run over by 9 minutes and we never even got to the other electric vehicle companies. Look, Murphy Power Company. I'm gonna flip through super fast. This is speed round. Murphy Power Company. Literally, like, these things can haul. And very little to it. This is an electric vehicle. Like, that's a front-end loader, I guess. Hi, Philip. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I was excited. It's cool stuff, and so I was trying to get in as much as I can, but I will need to just shut down here in a second. Really cool. Also, like, I like his fashion. A jaunty way of wearing that hat. Sorry. Okay. I really should bring it to a close. I knew today was going to be a stream that I found really interesting. I do want to say thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today for this exploration of early 1900s electric vehicles with the H.H. Skinner papers. If you happen to be in the area and want to stop by the archives and take a look at them yourself and see what else is in here, feel free to do so. We're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can book appointments in advance or just drop in the reading room. All right, so coming up next week, I said at the top of stream, but I'll mention again, we have the Educational Cookery Collection next week, and then in 2 weeks, we are off because the university campus will be closed for the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. And then the end of the month, we'll come back with the American Egg Board Collection, then the Thornton L. Page papers on December 7th, and then a special guest will be joining us on December 14th for some discussion of something about baking. We don't know yet. I am going to raid Stephen Joyce today if he is live because it is his birthday. So we will definitely be popping over there if he is live. And he is live, currently playing Core Keeper. It's his birthday. We're going to pop in over there. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining me. I hope that you stay curious. I hope I see you again soon. And until I do, I hope you keep exploring history.